go. All right, so share my screen. And now you should see the presentation. Okay, and I'm going to present it. I'll put myself down there. All right, so here's the top five. I would say these are at least my top five Facebook and Instagram advertising mistakes that you could be doing. Number one, we're going to break down what each mistake is, but we also want to talk about what you should be doing instead. Number one, thinking you know your audience. Assuming your audience is one of the worst things that you can do. You need to assume it in the beginning. You know, you have to go, okay, I think my audience is A, B, C, D. But you really want to delve into deeper to who your audience is. And you could do that by using Ads Manager, the Insights Manager inside of its audience insights. It's inside the Business Manager. That's where you find it. And you can delve further into your audience. Another thing you can do is you can guess who your audience is and, you know, get real close to who your target market is. But then test, and we'll talk about testing, of course, is another thing, but then test multiple different audiences until you narrow in on that core audience, that right audience. So really, this is mistake number one. And if you are not talking to the right audience, you will not see the results. I mean, that's the bottom line. You're going to have worse results. You're going to have possibly much more expensive results, or you're not going to have results at all. So make sure that you learn your audience. All right. We're going to go on to number two, but I got to open the door for my cat. So hang on a second. Okay. Number two, not running an ad long enough. Oh, I see this all the time. People will run ads, and I'm guilty of it even myself, where we go, okay, we've run it for 24, 48 hours, and we think we know that it's not working or it's just costing too much money. But I've also seen ads where if you give it the time it needs, it can cost a lot, and then the price can just go down, 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 down. So not running an ad long enough is a big thing. So how long should you run your ads? How long do you think? I'm curious. I did ask this question in the Facebook group, and if you've been working with me, you would know this too. But you should be running your ads at least minimum of 3 days, okay, without touching them if possible. So 3 days is what you should minimally do. But I even would recommend 4 to 7 days to really understand. So let's just say I launch an ad and I'm running an ad that has 3 different creatives, maybe 2 videos and a graphic. Well, after those 3 days, maybe even 48 hours, I might turn one of those off just because I kind of realize, you know, one is way more expensive than the other ones. But you want to give that the full 3 days. And then you may narrow down some of your criteria, or if you're testing audiences, which we'll talk about too, you could be turned off a few things, but then continue running that for 7 days before you go, you know what, my ad didn't work. I have seen it time and time again where some of the best campaigns have worked when they didn't work at first. So this is very important to run your ad long enough. 1 day is not enough. 2 days is not enough. It needs to be minimally 3 to 4 days. Number 3, not spending enough money. Now that's a big one. I get asked all the time, like, how much money should we be spending? And I can't tell you that unless we know what your conversion cost is. So let me give you an example. When we're doing list building ads, the average cost is $3 to $5. So let's just say we want it to be, we're hoping for a $3 lead, okay? We need to get enough leads under that ad to convert to 50 leads in a week, okay? So that's 50 leads in a week. So how much would that cost you? I'm pulling out my calculator. 50 leads times 3 is 150. So your daily ad spend should be divided by 7, $21 per day in order to hit that 50 number. Because this is something Facebook has where they have a learning phase. Now, can you spend less? Yes, you can. But a lot of times the ad won't work properly. So my recommendation is always to spend more than you want to when you start an ad off, because you can always pull back on the budget, but increasing the budget too fast can really throw off your ad results. So my recommendation is start out higher. Start out at the $21, $25 a day. Run that for the 3 days, kind of understand what you're doing, and get it out of this, what they call the learning phase. Get it out of the learning phase. I've got hair everywhere. Sorry, I'm petting my cat. And get it to work properly. Then you can pull back on the budget if you need to. So really, whatever you want to spend in ad spend, at least double it. So if you're really thinking, I want to spend $10 a day, start out with $20 a day. If you think I can spend $20 a day, spend $40 or $50 a day. Start out higher and then pull back, because you will get your ad results and your testing done faster too if you start out with a higher dollar value. Okay, so you really want to make sure that you're spending enough money, especially when you launch your ads. You can always pull it back, but increasing it gets tough because you have to do that per day, and it should be approximately 10% per day. All right, not understanding the critical numbers is the next thing. So we're going to, hopefully I can, let me get rid of this. And what do I mean by that? It's what are you looking at for your results? So if you don't have my Facebook and Instagram ads industry benchmark cheat sheet, this is a great tool to just have printed out on your desk, or have it available and handy at any time on your computer so that you can go, you know what? My cost per click is $1. So if the average cost is $1.86, I'm doing fantastic. So that's something that you want to make sure that you have in your knowing that what you're looking for. The bottom line is the number one thing you want to look for is your cost per result. We've talked about this in the past, but you want to make sure that's your number one criteria. That's the most critical, is your cost per result. The next ones are those different areas. And so you can break it down by looking at cost per impressions. That's the second one on here. And you could look at your click-through rate. Those are kind of the top ones. But if you don't know what a good click-through rate is, then how do you know if your ad's doing properly, running properly? Okay. So those are all critical things to look at, but your cost per result is most important. So one of the things I just mentioned is that $3 to $5 a lead is maybe the average for email list building. And if you're getting yours at $5, but you don't think it's good, it could be good for your audience. That is what you're looking at, though, is that is when we're doing list building, we're looking at the cost per lead. So that's the result. So you always want to look at the column that is the cost per result. So that's another big mistake that people do, is they don't know what these numbers are or what they mean. And so they have no idea how to read the ad results. So that is a big, big mistake that a lot of people do make. It's just not understanding what numbers to look at. All right, number 5. If you have any questions, drop them in. I'm going to continue going through this, but drop them into the questions and I will get back to you. You may be watching this after the facts. We will post this in the group, this video in the group afterwards. That will be pretty easy to do. So you might be watching this afterwards. Definitely can drop your questions too. Number 5, not testing a ton of variables. So we talked about some of these variables already. We talked about audiences, testing audiences. So you might want to take and go, okay, my audience is I think my audience is A, B, and C. So I want to test A, B, C, D, E. I sometimes launch my ads with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different audiences right off the bat. I will test 10 different audiences and narrow to the best audience. I did that recently with my own ads, and most were converting at $5 to $7 per lead. And once I did the testing, I knew the best audience. I took that best audience and tried a different placement, okay, placement. And then I tested placements, and I was able to bring that cost per lead from $5 all the way down to $3. So almost in half, I cut that by changing the placement. So I tested audiences first, and then I changed the placement. Now the creative changed too, and I tested creative also. So meaning creative is testing different graphics or testing different videos. You don't want to do all this at once. You never want to do all this at once. One variable at a time. So you do want to test a ton of variables, but one at a time, unless you're using dynamic ads. And that's a deeper conversation, but you can test multiple variables at a time using dynamic ads if you turn that on. There was a glitch with dynamic ads. I've talked about that recently, and I'm not sure if it's back yet. So I've avoided dynamic ads for the past 2 weeks just because there was a major glitch with dynamic ads. But that's the only way you could test multiple variables. But if you're doing that, you need to remember that the more variables you have, the more money you need to spend. So, if you want to test only 3 audiences, I wouldn't do the 10 audiences at $10 a day. When I test the 10 audiences, I put $5 per audience. So I'm testing $50 a day when I do that. Now, I only have to do it for 3 days, remember. So I'm spending $150 like whoosh, but then I can pull back. And then once I pull back, I can go all the way down to $10 a day if I really want to. But you can't have too many variables and not enough money. All right, lots of stuff here. I know, there's lots of stuff. Last one, bonus, number 6, not retargeting. I was thinking about it afterwards. I'm like, I didn't talk at all about retargeting, and putting ads in front of people that know who you are is your best audience, okay? So what do I mean by this audience? This is your people that go to your website. This is your email list. This could be people that engaged with the video, your Facebook engagement, your Instagram engagement. All of those variables can go into the retargeting audience. So getting in front of people that you've already warmed up, that have an idea of who you are, that is your best audience for retargeting. And you must be doing this time and time again, because people, it takes like, I think it's 6 to 20. I mean, the numbers have gone way up. It's a lot of touch points for people to want to actually purchase from you. They have to see you again and again and again and again to build that trust. So you want to make sure that you're getting in front of that audience often, again and again and again. All right. Last thing I want to mention to you is that watch this group for a free 4-part ads list building training. Some of these things that I was just talking about, pretty much all of it, will be in this free 4-part training. This is specific to list building, but every single one of you should be list building all the time. That it should be on a consistent basis. Everybody should be building their email list or building their texting list, whatever, some people are doing it via Messenger, but you need to be building a list. And we will walk you through what criteria you need to build that list, but also then the ads for the list and launching those ads. So in this 4-part series, my goal with you is to launch the ads with you so that while we're doing this, you actually see results. That's the best part of doing any of these trainings is when you guys take action and we actually see results. So I'm going to come back. So watch for that. That will be announced via email, and it will also be announced in the group. So you will be able to have the opportunity to sign up for that in the next few weeks, and it will not be starting until after Christmas. So that will be starting in January. Any questions at all? I have not seen any questions come in, but I know we have a small group because I did not go live. But I know people will watch afterwards, and I'm fine with that. We will let people grab it afterwards. Any questions at all there? My schedule coming up is next week we'll do another training. And then the following 2 weeks, we will be off until after the new year. The first week of January, if I look at my calendar here, the first, I won't be doing it. Well, my goal is the first week of January, that Thursday, will actually be the launch of this new 4-part training series. So I'm not sure. I probably might jump on just randomly and go through some of the updates if they're big enough. Otherwise, we'll just skip the updates for the month of December. I don't know how many there will be, but we'll be jumping right in January to this new training that I'm excited to do because I'm excited for people to take action and get results. That is the key. Any other questions at all? I'm going to end the recording.